The HSS Pioneer drifted silently through the void as it approached Epsilon Eridani 4, humanity's newest frontier for colonization. Captain Sun Woo Kim stood on the bridge, watching as the planet's blue-green surface came into view. The journey had taken 3 years, even with the latest jump drives, and Sun Woo felt the weight of responsibility for the 500 colonists sleeping in cryostasis below decks. "Beautiful, isn't it?" asked First Officer Yunha beside him. "Reminds me of Earth's Pacific." Sun Woo nodded. The planet's vast ocean shimmered under the light of its sun, cloud formations swirling across its atmosphere. Initial scans had confirmed a breathable atmosphere and conditions suitable for human habitation. "Captain, we're detecting an unknown vessel approaching," announced Communications Officer Jaiwoo Park, her voice cutting through the calm of the bridge. "It's not answering standard hails." Sun Woo straightened. On screen, the main view screen flickered, and there it was, a ship of unfamiliar design. As they watched, 2 more vessels appeared, seemingly emerging from behind the planet's moon. 3 sleek, obsidian ships now floated before them, all sharp angles and pulsing with an eerie violet light. "Tactical analysis," Sun Woo ordered. "Energy signatures unlike anything in our database, Captain," replied Security Chief Hannah. "Weapons systems appear active but not targeting us, yet." "Keep our shields down," Sun Woo said. "We don't want to appear aggressive." The communication panel chimed. Jaiwoo looked up. "Captain, they're hailing us." "Open the channel." The screen changed to show an alien face. Its features were reptilian, with gray-blue scales and yellow eyes with vertical pupils. The creature had no visible ears and a ridge of spines ran along what appeared to be its head. "This is Commander Taehyun of the Vraktai Dominion," came a harsh voice over the comms. "Your expansion stops here. Surrender your vessel as a security measure or face consequences." A chill ran through the bridge crew. This was humanity's 9th extrasolar colony attempt, but only the 2nd time they had encountered sentient alien life. The first contact with the Elderian Republic had been peaceful and led to trade agreements. This felt different. Sun Woo kept his voice level. "Commander Taehyun, I am Captain Sun Woo Kim of the human spaceship Pioneer. We come in peace. We had no knowledge this system was claimed by your people." "It is not claimed. It is protected," the alien replied. "Your kind spreads like a disease. We have observed your rapid expansion. It will not continue." Sun Woo's expression hardened. "This is a peaceful mission, Commander. We have sovereign rights to establish." "Your rights mean nothing," interrupted Taehyun, his yellow eyes narrowing. "We've already placed explosive devices throughout your habitat dome. Surrender or watch your colonists perish." The bridge fell silent. The habitat dome had been deployed 2 weeks earlier by automated ships. It was already set up on the planet's surface, awaiting the colonists. "How do we know you're telling the truth?" Sun Woo asked, fighting to keep his voice steady. Commander Taehyun made a gesture to someone off-screen. A moment later, the view screen split to show footage from inside the habitat dome. Small, blinking devices were attached to key structural points. "A demonstration, perhaps?" Taehyun said. Without waiting for a response, he pressed something off-screen. On the habitat dome feed, one of the devices detonated. A section of the dome's support structure collapsed, opening a 10-meter gash in the outer shell. The atmospheric containment fields activated immediately, but the message was clear. "You have 6 Earth hours to surrender your vessel and turn your colonists over to our custody," Taehyun said. "Attempt to send messages to your government, and we detonate all explosives. Attempt to land forces, and we detonate all explosives. Refuse our terms." He paused, "and we detonate all explosives." The communication cut off, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Sun Woo turned to his crew. "Options?" "We can't give in to their demands," said Security Chief Hannah. "Once they have hostages, they'll never let them go." First Officer Yunha nodded. "And if we surrender the ship, we lose our only means of defense or escape." Sun Woo looked at the alien vessels on the screen, then at the damaged habitat dome below. 500 lives depended on his next decision. In the academy, they had trained for first contact scenarios, but nothing like this. Jaiwu, can you send a message to Earth without them detecting it? The communications officer frowned. Possibly. I could piggyback it on their own transmission carrier wave. It's risky. Do it, Sun Wu ordered. Tell Earth we need immediate assistance. And add this: humans don't negotiate with terrorists. The message from the HSS Pioneer reached Earth Central Command 16 minutes after transmission. It arrived during the night shift, and within seconds, alarms blared throughout the complex. Admiral Jaina Lee was asleep when her comm unit buzzed. She was awake and alert in moments, years of military training kicking in. Admiral Lee, she answered, her voice clear despite the late hour. Admiral, this is Command Center. We've received an emergency transmission from the Pioneer. First contact situation, hostile intent. 500 potential hostages. I'll be there in 10 minutes. The command center was a flurry of activity when Jaina arrived. Officers moved quickly between stations, voices tense but controlled. At the center of the room, a large holographic display showed the Pioneer in orbit around Epsilon Eridani 4, with 3 unknown vessels positioned nearby. Lieutenant Do-Hyen Kong approached with a datapad. Admiral, the situation report is ready. Jaina studied the information, her expression growing darker with each detail. The hidden message from Captain Sunwoo had been brief but clear. The Vractai, a previously unknown species, had planted explosives throughout the colony habitat dome and were demanding the surrender of the Pioneer and all its colonists. They've taken 500 colonists hostage, she asked, her voice steady despite her rising anger. Yes, Admiral, replied Lieutenant Do-Hyen. We've been cross-referencing what little we know about these Vractai. Intelligence suggests they've employed similar tactics against the Centauri Alliance and 2 other species. And those other species surrendered? The Centauri gave up 3 colony worlds. The Falari lost their main research vessel. The Tholians, they tried to fight back. They lost both their ship and their colonists. Jaina turned to Hyunbin Choi, her chief xenopsychologist who had been called in from his research facility. Assessment? Hyunbin studied the images of the Vractai that had been captured from the Pioneer's transmission. Based on their physical characteristics and behavior, I believe the Vractai evolved as territorial ambush predators, he explained. They have the physical traits, forward-facing eyes, natural camouflage coloring, and body language that suggests they're used to striking from concealment. Psychologically, they view all expansion as inherent aggression. They don't see colonies as peaceful settlements, they see them as forward bases for invasion. So reasoning with them is unlikely to work, Jaina concluded. Not impossible, but challenging, Hyunbin replied. They respect strength and decisive action. Showing weakness would confirm their belief that we're easy prey. Jaina called her senior staff together. General Juno of the Space Marines wanted to send in combat teams immediately. Ambassador Mina suggested diplomatic channels through neutral species. Engineer Wu Jin proposed technical solutions to disable the explosives remotely. If we do nothing, we lose those people and show every hostile species that humans can be blackmailed, Jaina said. If we attack directly, we risk the lives we're trying to save. For 3 hours, they debated options. Reports came in from intelligence operatives in other sectors. The Vractai had a pattern: they targeted expanding civilizations, used threats and hostages to force concessions, then either enslaved the captured populations or used them as bargaining chips. They're bullies, Lieutenant Do-Hyen said finally. They've succeeded because no one has stood up to them. Jaina nodded slowly. Prepare the 5th Fleet for immediate deployment. Contact our Alderian allies for any support they can provide. The fleet will take at least 4 days to reach Epsilon Eridani, pointed out General Juno. I know, said Jaina. But Captain Sunwoo needs to know help is coming. And the Vractai need to know who they're dealing with. She walked to the communications station and motioned for the technician to prepare a direct channel. After hours of deliberation, Jaina reached for the transmitter. The weight of 500 lives rested on her next words. Her message was brief: Commander Taehyun, this is Admiral Lee of Earth Command. Understand this, humans do not negotiate with terrorists. You have 24 hours to withdraw. The communications officer looked up nervously. That's all, Admiral? That's all, Jaina confirmed. And make sure it broadcasts on all frequencies. I want every ship in that system to hear it. As the message went out, the command center fell silent. Jaina stared at the holographic display, at the tiny representation of the Pioneer surrounded by hostile vessels. Now we give Captain Sunwoo time to act, she said quietly. And we show these Vraktai that they've picked the wrong species to threaten. The Vraktai command ship trembled as Commander Taehyun slammed his scaled fist against the control panel. The message from Earth Central Command played again on the main screen, its meaning unmistakable. These humans are insane, he roared, yellow eyes flashing with rage. Do they not understand we'll kill their people? His second-in-command, Officer Mocketh, approached cautiously. Commander, perhaps they don't believe we will follow through. The other species we encountered always surrendered. Then we should detonate one of the major supports now. Show them we are serious. The explosives are ready, Mocketh confirmed. Awaiting your command. Taehyun stared at the screen showing the human vessel. Something felt wrong. The humans should be begging for mercy, not making threats. He had studied their previous encounters with other species. Humans were supposed to value individual lives above all else. Increase surveillance on the habitat dome, he ordered suddenly. And scan the Pioneer for unusual activity. Meanwhile, aboard the HSS Pioneer, Captain Sunwoo Kim worked quickly in the ship's secure operations center. Around him, his senior officers gathered to report their progress. The Vraktai are watching the main airlock in the shuttle bays, Security Chief Min Ji-han explained, pointing to a diagram of the habitat dome. But they don't know about the maintenance tunnels we built beneath the structure. These tunnels, designed for access to the dome's foundation systems, ran underground and emerged 2 kilometers away in a small supply depot hidden by a rock formation. It was their best hope for evacuation. How many colonists have we moved so far? Sunwoo asked. 87, Minji replied. We're waking them from cryostasis in small groups to avoid detection. Medical Officer Jaemin is monitoring their condition at the evacuation point. Sunwoo nodded. That leaves over 400 still at risk. We need more time. He turned to the holographic interface where the ship's artificial intelligence was represented by a pulsing blue sphere. Atlas, can you jam their detonator signals? Sunwoo asked. Partial success, Captain, replied the calm voice of Atlas. I've identified a vulnerability in their communication protocols. With some modifications, we could potentially reverse the control signal. Explain. The Vraktai use a quantum encrypted frequency to control the detonators, Atlas said. However, they update their encryption key every 30 minutes through a secondary channel. I've isolated this channel and could potentially insert our own key during the next update cycle, which would give us control of the detonators, Sunwoo realized. How long until the next update? 43 minutes, Captain. Sunwoo turned to Communications Officer Jaiwoo. Keep the Vraktai talking. We need to buy time. On the planet's surface, engineer Ji-hoon Kwan led a team of 4 through the dimly lit interior of the habitat dome. They moved carefully from section to section, scanning for the explosive devices. Found another one, whispered technical specialist Yuna. She pointed to a small black box attached to a main support beam. Blinking red lights indicated it was active. Ji-hoon moved closer to examine it without touching the device. Same design as the others. It's connected to their network. He reported in through his secure comlink. We've located 60% of the devices. But time is running out. Some of these are placed at critical junctures. Even a few detonations could collapse the entire structure. Back on the bridge, Captain Sunwoo received the report with a grim expression. We need to create a distraction, he said. Something to keep the Vraktai focused away from the dome. First Officer Yunha suggested, we could prepare the ship as if we're surrendering. Make them think we're following their demands. Good, Sun Wu agreed. And we'll need something else. Something unexpected. At that moment, Lieutenant Do Hyan's voice came through on a secure channel from Earth Command. Pioneer, this is Earth Command. The Fifth Fleet has departed Sol System at maximum speed. Estimated arrival, 4 days. You are authorized to take any measures necessary to protect our people. Sun Wu thanked him for the information, then turned back to his crew. 4 days is too long. We need to resolve this ourselves. On the main screen, Commander Taehyun's face appeared. Captain Kim, your time is running short. I want to see your colonists prepared for transfer within 2 hours, or I will detonate enough explosives to collapse the southern quadrant of your habitat. Sun Wu faced the screen, keeping his expression neutral despite his racing heart. Commander, we are preparing to comply. But waking 500 people from cryostasis takes time. We ask for patience. As the communication ended, Sun Wu turned to Atlas. How much longer until you can access their detonator system? 28 minutes, Captain. But I must warn you. There's a significant chance they will detect the intrusion. Sun Wu looked at the countdown timer displayed on the bridge. They had less than 24 hours before the Vractai deadline expired, and hundreds of lives hung in the balance. We'll take that chance, he said. Because the alternative is unacceptable. Execute Protocol Thunderstorm, ordered Captain Sun Wu, his voice calm despite the tension filling the bridge. It was time. After 18 hours of careful preparation, the plan was ready. 200 colonists had been evacuated through the maintenance tunnels. Atlas had successfully infiltrated the Vractai detonator system. Engineer Ji-hoon's team had located and tagged all explosive devices. The pieces were in place. First Officer Yunha looked up from her console. All teams report ready, Captain. Sun Wu nodded. Begin Phase 1. In the launch bay, 50 small defense drones activated. Each was no larger than a dinner plate, designed for perimeter security around the colony. Now they had a different purpose. Maintenance Chief Dasim had modified them with heat signatures that mimicked human life signs. The drones shot out from the Pioneer, spreading in all directions like a swarm of insects. Some headed toward the planet's surface, others toward the nearby moon, and still others directly toward the Vractai ships. On the Vractai command vessel, alarms sounded. Officer Maketh rushed to Commander Taehyun's side. Multiple human craft detected. They're everywhere. Taehyun stared at the sensor display in disbelief. Impossible. They couldn't have hidden so many ships. The readings suggest small transport vessels, Maketh reported. Each with human life signs. They appear to be evacuating the colonists. Taehyun's scales darkened with rage. Activate the detonators. All of them. Maketh pressed the command sequence, but nothing happened. He tried again. Sir, the detonation system isn't responding. At that exact moment, Atlas launched Phase 2. The AI sent a cascade of contradictory signals through the vulnerability in the Vractai communication network. Every system connected to their control frequency began receiving conflicting commands. On the habitat dome, the explosive devices blinked rapidly as their control circuits were flooded with nonsense data. The safety protocols activated, locking them down. Sir, Maketh said, panic rising in his voice, we're detecting a breach in our security protocols. Something is attacking our network. Commander Taehyun hissed. Shut down all communications. Recall our patrol ships. But it was too late. As the Vractai crew scrambled to regain control of their systems, Phase 3 of Protocol Thunderstorm began. From the far side of the planet, 3 stealth shuttles approached the Vractai command ship. The shuttles, painted with light-absorbing material and running on minimal power, were nearly invisible to sensors. Even more so now that the Vractai were distracted by the drone swarm. Lieutenant Yona Park sat in the lead shuttle, checking her tactical display. 15 Marines in combat armor waited behind her, weapons ready. They had trained for boarding actions, but never against an alien vessel with unknown internal defenses. Remember, Yona said to her team, non-lethal tactics if possible. We want prisoners, not casualties. The shuttles attached to the Vractai ship's hull using magnetic clamps. Cutting tools sliced through the outer plating at predetermined weak points identified by Atlas during sensor scans. Yona was first through the breach, stun pistol raised. Boarding successful, she whispered into her comb, moving to capture the command deck. The human team moved with surgical efficiency through the alien corridors. Their helmet displays showed a map of the vessel based on Atlas's analysis of similar ships detected near Centauri space. The Vractai they encountered were disoriented, their communication devices rendered useless by the electronic attack. Yona's team used stun weapons to neutralize resistance. The Vractai, despite their fearsome appearance, fell quickly to the coordinated human assault. Many had never faced direct combat, relying instead on threats and intimidation. Within 15 minutes, Yona's team reached the command deck. The doors were sealed, but Engineer Siho from her team attached a bypass device to the control panel. 3 seconds, he whispered. The doors slid open. Commander Taehyun turned in shock as human marines flooded into his command center. Don't move, Yona ordered, her stun pistol aimed at the Vractai commander. For a moment, Taehyun seemed ready to resist. Then his shoulders slumped in defeat. The other Vractai on the bridge slowly raised their hands in surrender, mimicking the human gesture they had observed in communications. Within 20 minutes, Commander Taehyun found himself staring into Yona's determined eyes as she secured his restraints. This is impossible, he hissed. No species has ever successfully resisted us. You haven't met humans before, Yona replied simply. Back on the Pioneer, Captain Sunwoo received confirmation of the successful capture. He opened a channel to the remaining Vractai vessels, making sure the transmission would be received by every ship in their fleet. Attention Vractai vessels. This is Captain Sunwoo Kim of the HSS Pioneer. Your commander is now our guest. He paused, letting the message sink in. All explosive devices on our habitat have been neutralized. You will withdraw from human space immediately, or we will be forced to take similar action against your remaining ships. The response was immediate. The Vractai vessels began powering down weapons and adjusting their trajectories away from the planet. Captain, First Officer Yuna said with a smile, I believe they're leaving. Sunwoo nodded. Inform Earth Command of our success. And tell the colonists they can come home. Word spread quickly among the stars. News of the human victory over the Vractai traveled faster than any ship could fly. The species that had lived in fear of the Vractai watched in amazement as the previously unstoppable predators retreated before human resolve. 3 weeks after the incident at Epsilon Eridani 4, Ambassador Mina stood in the great circular chamber of the Galactic Council. The room was filled with representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations. Many were seeing a human for the first time. The human delegation may approach, announced the council speaker, a tall being with silvery skin. Ambassador Mina walked forward, joined by Captain Sunwoo and Admiral Jaina. They had not expected such interest in their story, but the council had specifically requested their presence. Elder Wojin of the Centauri Alliance addressed the assembly first. He was old even by Centauri standards, his blue-tinged skin wrinkled with age. For generations, we submitted to Vractai demands. We surrendered colonies, ships, and resources. We accepted their protection because we feared their reprisals. He turned to face the human delegation. The humans have shown us another way. The chamber filled with sounds of agreement from many species. A representative of the Vractai was present too, a minor official sent to replace the disgraced Commander Taehyun. He sat alone, scales dull with shame. Admiral Jaina stepped forward when invited to speak. We came here today not to boast of victory, but to propose an alliance. The Vractai are not the only threat in our galaxy. There will always be those who use fear as a weapon. We suggest creating a mutual defense agreement. The proposal sparked intense discussion. Some species were eager to join, while others worried about provoking new conflicts. The debate continued for hours. During a break in the proceedings, Captain Sunwoo found himself approached by a small, insect-like being with compound eyes. "You are the one who captured the Vraktai commander," the being asked in a clicking voice. "My crew deserves the credit," Sunwoo replied. "I simply gave the orders. My people, the Volians, lost a colony to the Vraktai 5 cycles ago. When we refused their demands, they destroyed everything." The aliens' antennae drooped. "We believed resistance was impossible." Sunwoo nodded sadly. "We were fortunate. And prepared." "No," the Volian clicked. "You were brave. There is a difference." Back on Earth, the incident changed humanity's approach to space exploration. Admiral Jaina established the Interstellar Security Initiative, a coalition force dedicated to protecting vulnerable civilizations from threats. The first volunteer members included the Centauri Alliance, the Alderians, and surprisingly, the Volians. "We cannot be everywhere," Jaina explained to the Earth Council. "But we can create a network of mutual support. Any aggressor should know that attacking one member means facing all of us." As the months passed, a doctrine emerged in interstellar diplomacy. The human principle became shorthand for refusing to reward aggression with concessions. Other species began adopting similar policies, strengthening their defenses while maintaining open diplomatic channels. The Vraktai, faced with this new united front, retreated to their home systems. Reports suggested internal conflict had erupted among their leadership, with many questioning their traditional approach to other species. On the one-year anniversary of the Epsilon Eridani incident, the colony was thriving. The habitat dome, now reinforced and expanded, housed over 1,000 people. Captain Sunwoo visited with the crew of the Pioneer for the celebration. Engineer Ji-hoon, who had helped neutralize the explosives, now led the colony's infrastructure team. "We built a memorial," he told Sunwoo, leading him to a simple stone marker near the colony center. The inscription read, "To remember what was at stake, and what we stood for." That same day, across the galaxy, the Centauri reclaimed a world they had surrendered to the Vraktai years before. They met no resistance. Lieutenant Yona, promoted for her role in the boarding action, now commanded her own security vessel patrolling the borders of human space. She often told new crew members about the look in Commander Taehyun's eyes when he realized his tactics had failed. "He expected us to value safety over freedom," she would say. "He didn't understand humans at all." Among the stars, a new warning passed from ship to ship, colony to colony, whispered in trading posts and diplomatic gatherings: "Beware of humans, they don't negotiate with terrorists." The message wasn't meant as a threat, but as a promise. Humanity had taken its place among the stars not as conquerors, but as defenders of a simple principle, that freedom must sometimes be protected with courage. The end.